All right, I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings. I should be leaving in a little bit.
All right. Yo, yo, yo.
Let's do it.
All right. One time, one time. Sorry for the echo. What's up, y'all? Coming to you live from Titletown, USA, aka Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on this hot Thursday night. Coming to you a little early because we have a busy weekend. We have youth retreat at our church and some other stuff going on this weekend. We're coming to you a couple days early. I'm rocking out with my boy Troy. For those of you that don't know what they're watching now, you're watching later. We just suffered one of the worst betrayals we have ever seen in an NBA draft. The Sixers drafted hometown boy Mikal Bridges only to trade him a couple minutes later. Oh man. Man, oh man. But Teroy, go ahead and reintroduce yourself and then we'll get into it. Go ahead.
My name's Troy. Most people call me T. From the South Jersey, Philly area. Moved down to Florida about 10 years ago. I love all Philly sports. I don't really care for Florida sports. Aspiring to be a sports broadcaster, do a little freelance journalism on the side. That's about it.
All right. Well, we had a schedule, but Teroy and I are just so hurt by what just happened to our boy Mikal Bridges. We just gonna go, man. Man, you know, the Sixers really know how to spoil a moment, man. They really do, yo. They draft the person that they supposed to draft. I wrote a whole article about it. The Sixers drafted they drafted Mikal Bridges, a hometown talent from Malvern, PA. Which those of you that don't know where Malvern is a suburb of Philadelphia. He went to Malvern Prep, went to Villanova, won a national title, 2 national titles with the Villanova Wildcats, was drafted by the Sixers. I just wrote an article about it called The Sixers Are on the Clock. Definitely check that out and watch the sports take. Shameless plug right there. And he was right there for the taking. The Sixers had it. He was happy. He was doing interviews. And right at the midst, as the interview ended, he found out he was traded to Phoenix, Arizona, for Zaire Smith. My goodness, that betrayal was up there with a Game of Thrones, anime, whatever you watch, man, it was a deep betrayal. And I just have to say this, man. The Sixers really know how to blow it, man. They really do. I mean, listen, Zaire Smith, I watched him in college. He seemed like a good player. He a playmaker, but he doesn't have the outside shooting. That I'm sorry, y'all. I just got a funny message. Zaire Smith was a great player. Let me get back. Zaire Smith was a great player for Texas Tech, but he kind of bloomed late. He didn't really have like a good, like, I would want to say college, like, you know, he showed up in spurts, but he's a playmaker. The Sixers really fell in love with him. He's got a good mid-range shot. They're comparing him to Avery Bradley. And if he can be Avery Bradley, or be half the player Avery Bradley is, then this trade is acceptable. But right now, we had a two-way player, a great shooter, exactly what we needed, somebody who wasn't a project, who could come in right away, right? A Brett Brown player, a player that knows how to win, and Brett Brown and them traded him. I don't know what's going on, man. Unless this is part of a bigger plan that nets us Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James, I don't understand it, man. This 26th pick better be the best 26th pick ever. Like, it can't be Dante DiVincenzo. So it's either going to be, even though I don't really like this player, it's either Grayson Allen or Jalen Brunson. That's the only acceptable thing that will redeem the Sixers right now. And I like the Sixers. They my hometown team. But they make dumb decisions come draft time. I don't understand what's wrong with them, man. We needed shooting. We needed a two-way player. Zaire Smith is a playmaker. He's a great offensive talent, but he doesn't play defense. We needed a two-way player, and that was Mikal Bridges. But the Sixers traded him to Phoenix. The rich get richer. Now they have Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Mikal Bridges. And we're just left with Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Zaire Smith. Now, when I envisioned Mikal Bridges or Trae Young, Zaire Smith was way on the bottom of my list. And now it's just Zaire Smith and a 2021 unprotected first-round pick. Oh, man, y'all got to do better, man. Trust the process. Y'all making it real hard to trust the process right now, man. Zaire Smith, he better come in ready. He better not get injured. He better come in and be able to be the playmaker. He better be a highlight reel, or else I'm going to be dogging the Sixers all season for this pick. Go ahead, Teroy.
Yeah, man, this pick is mind baffling, man. We took Mikal Bridges. I'm like, yes, he's an upgrade from Robert Covington. We can get rid of him because Rocco got to go. Because Rocco, my opinion, is trash. And then you go ahead and you trade him for Zaire Smith. For all of that, you should have just took him number 10. For what is the 2021 unprotected first round pick going to do for us right now? He could end up being really good. Then what? Then we get the number 28th pick or something like that. Like, come on, man. Like, I was happy with Mikal Bridges, and then we traded him for Zaire Smith. I ain't watched none of his games. I don't even think he's that good just looking at him. Like, he can't even play no defense. We got enough people that don't play defense. We need more people that can be a two-way player. So why in the world are we trading him for somebody who can, quote-unquote, be a playmaker? Like, we need people that can shoot. Mikal Bridges could shoot, more consistent on the offensive end. He could play defense. I mean, imagine if we would have kept Covington, Mikal at the 2, or Mikal at the 2, Covington at the 3. Them two defending. Because Covington's a good defender. I just don't like him offensively. We'd have been solid. But now we're stuck with Zaire Smith. I don't even think the Sixers players want Zaire Smith. And we stuck with Zaire Smith. Like, it's just disrespectful. It's just I don't get it. I don't understand why they made the move that they made. You could have just drafted him at number 10 for all that if you really wanted him. It's dumb. I'm hot. Beyond hot. Stupid. That was retarded. That was the dumbest thing they did outside of drafting Okafor. Just retarded. And drafted Michael Carter Williams. And straight retarded, man. I'm beyond pissed.
Listen, they just
Bridges, the son.
Yes, Amina. While you were somewhere else, the Sixers blew it. They traded who they should have had and traded them to the Suns. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead and react to that.
I turned the TV because I was ironing, so I was in another room and I heard it. I was like, wow. I ain't got nothing else to say. It's like Sixers, y'all. What? Okay.
There's just nothing to say, man. You know, we all were elated, excited. Like we had the missing piece, and now we're another year away. Unless, like I said, the Sixers find a way to turn Zaire Smith into Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James. But like I said, that 26 pick better be the best pick ever. I better be able to say, well, may have Zaire Smith, but hey, we got another good two-way player. I better be able to say that because at the end of this draft, at the end of tonight, if I can't say that, I'm going to be a little bit upset. Gotta be real, man. I'm not happy with what the Sixers did, man. And this not the only baffling thing the Sixers did this week before this draft that we're gonna get to. But we're gonna move right along to our crossover hot takes. I'm so mad I forgot to do the introduction. Well, as we always do, we're gonna do our crossover hot takes, which is where we get the crossover part of our name from. Mix politics, culture, entertainment. It's a bunch of things. We're gonna get to it. All right. So the first question: what do you guys think about the Players Coalition? For those of you that don't know, the Players Coalition is made up of Malcolm Jenkins, Doug Baldwin, Benjamin Watson, and a bunch of other players who are socially active. There's a socially active wing of the NFLPA, so that's out the way. The Players Coalition answering 45's challenge and saying do more than pardon people. All right, so for those of you that don't know, if I let them answer the question, a couple weeks ago, 45, before he left on for another golf trip, he challenged the NFL players to send him a list of people who they thought were wrong by the system, and he would pardon them if he agreed, right? And so the players coalition answered him today in the New York Times article in which they said, while we appreciate you pardoning Alice Johnson, there are 79,000 other people that are her age, 60 and younger, that are nonviolent offenders. There's 79,000 of them. Why don't you use your clemency, your pardon power to pardon them? And so they have called. They did a lot of other stuff. Y'all can read that New York Times article. Troy and Amina, I've already sent it to them, so they have the benefit of looking at it. But I would suggest that you read this during your leisure time so you can understand what we're talking about. But yeah. So what do you guys say? What do you guys think about them basically calling the president on his bluff? Go ahead, Troy.
I think it's a good stance by them. Me personally, I don't think the president really cares to be 100%. So I think it's a good stance by them to take that stance. There's other people that need it more than them. Um, because I don't, like I said, I don't think the president really care about the players. I don't think he gives a rat's behind about the players, to be completely honest with you, or the NFL for that matter. So for him trying to make this move is just trying to make him look good, and so therefore, by the players calling him out on his bluff, by trying to get it to somebody who really needs it, is going to see if he really will help the community out, which I don't think he will. So I think it's a good stand by the players.
Amina, go ahead. Your thoughts.
Hi everyone, it's Amina. I did not say my introduction because I was busy. How I feel about this recent bloop, flip flop, whatever you want to call it, from our dear president concerning these players calling him out on whatever bluff or lack of thereof. I find it to be, he's getting what was coming to him. I mean, sure, I guess the woman, Alice Johnson, whatever her name is, she's happy to be out doing what she can do. But as Kyla said, there are so many other potential candidates that should be pardoned all over the country for stuff they didn't do, yada yada. And it's about time that people get released from these prisons for stuff that's non-violent. Why do we have people sitting in prison for decades that he didn't hurt anyone? But we got people that actually legitimately hurt people and they get little to no time. It just goes to show further another example why the Grand Ole USA is behind on things and just not on point. It's to be expected. I mean, come on. But if he really wants to get involved with prison reform, please start with people that actually really, really need it. Don't go after the people you favor or you getting bought and sold for it by a Kardashian. All jokes to Kim Kardashian. But that's what I gotta say about that.
I mean, let me just say this, right? Just like we'll give it up to, uh, like I said, I want to be this show. We want to be fair and unbiased, so we're gonna be fair. We're gonna give 45 his due. You know, Kim Kardashian did the work, but we're gonna give him his due. He listened. He gave Alice Johnson clemency. He commuted her sentence, didn't pardon her, commuted her sentence. She's out of jail right now. She's with her family. You know, non-violent offender who was there for selling drugs. And you know, she's out now, and we're very happy for that. But as the player said, you could do more than just pardon people. Basically, they told him, put your name in the paper, do something for criminal justice reform, and then maybe we'll stop protesting. But they're Americans; they're gonna keep bringing to light injustices, and I have to applaud them because you know they could have gone the route of ignoring him, but they did the best thing for them. They challenged him. They did something that most people don't do in this society. That they did something that their employers, the NFL, didn't do. They didn't bow down. They challenged 45 and challenged him to basically put his money where his mouth is. You know, all right, you want to pardon people? You want us to make it easy on you? Nah, you do it. And that's exactly what they did. And you know, they didn't make it easy on them. They said there's 79,000 people in prison right now, non-violent offenders that are senior citizens, 60 and above. Challenge, issue some blank pardons and pardon them. And you know, we'll see if he answers the challenge. But I enjoy that. Call him on his bluff. Force him to use his presidential power because they're just athletes. He's got all the power. So, you know, I'm all for that. I'm all for challenging the system, challenging people who wanna bring you through the ringer on Twitter, online, and through the media. You go ahead and accept the challenge. And if he doesn't accept the challenge, then he looks like the coward. And the people start asking, okay, well, if he's got the balls to say they should be standing for the anthem, they should respect the flag, and he challenged them and said, send me a list, and they say, all right, we don't need to send you a list. There's 79,000 people. There are 79,000 other Alice Johnsons, blanket pardon them. So now he's got a challenge. You know, they didn't make it easy on him, which I applaud, and they didn't just issue names. They told them there's 79,000 people that are in the same position as Alice Johnson, pardon or commute their sentences. So now the ball's in his court. If he doesn't do it, he looks like a coward and looks weak. Two things he doesn't like looking like. And if he does it, then he answered their challenge, and you know that it's done good for other people. Like Teroy and Amina said, they're challenging him to meet the expectation of his office, which is to make life better for people. And if he can't do that, then to be honest, he really shouldn't be president, really shouldn't be trying to use the bully pulpit, as it's called, to try and get stuff done. You know? But that's just me. Moving right along. I told y'all we would get to stupid things the Sixers did this week. Teroy, your reaction to the Sixers and their willingness, now this is just a rumor, but it's a well-reported, well-sourced rumor, that the Sixers were willing to risk it all for Mr. Bad Back himself, Michael Porter Jr. ready to risk Markel Fultz, the 10th and the 26th pick. Teroy, you have the floor. Go ahead. Go in, my brother.
That's retarded. That's straight retarded. I mean, listen, that I saw the comparisons. Michael Porter Jr. compared to Kevin Durant. I get it if he's healthy, but he's not healthy. He might not ever be healthy with that bad back. So the risk. A lot of people are down to Markel Fultz. I actually like Markel Fultz. I think Markel Fultz is going to have a good year next year, a really good year. So the risk, Markel Fultz, the 10th pick and the 26th pick, to draft Michael Porter Jr., who might not even be healthy. Like, are you serious? We need a GM. We need a GM that's competent and knowing what he's doing. Because I'd have been perfectly fine with maybe taking Mikal Bridges or whoever we took at number 10 and then using that 26 pick and maybe like a couple second runners and moving up to get Porter Jr. after we had the 10th pick. I ain't got no problem with that. But to give up Markel Fultz, the 10th and the 26th, to take Michael Porter Jr., nah. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. I don't get it. That's retarded. That's worse than the trade they just made. That's stupid, beyond stupid. It makes no sense. Like, we really need a GM because I don't think they know what they're doing. From we should have just kept Pinky. We got Colangelo, and he messed up. Brett Brown being the GM, he messing up. I don't get it. That would have been stupid. I would have turned the TV off after that. On a side note, before I left Buffalo Wild Wings, me and my dad were talking, and he was saying that he was reading up on the stuff that Zaire Smith can't shoot. So my dad was saying the only real reason that he could think of as to why we traded for that number one pick is maybe a ploy as part of another first rounder so we could get Kawhi Leonard. Because otherwise it makes no sense. Because my dad was saying at that point, the Heat, that pick should be a good pick because all their players' contracts would be expiring by then. But outside of that, it makes no sense as to why we traded for Zaire Smith and almost trading to get Michael Porter Jr. would have been retarded, stupid. I mean, they made some bad decisions in the past, but that just would have been beyond retarded. Like, no sense whatsoever to trade for a person who has a bad back. We just got him. We just got him be back healthy. I don't. No. I'm glad they didn't do that. Like that would have just that'll rub me the wrong way for real, for real.
Amina, go ahead.
So Roy said it in a nutshell. Uh, I'm still reeling over why they did what they did, and it's hard. Like a Michael Porter Jr., I'm glad the Sixers did get him because he barely made the draft. Shout outs to the Denver Nuggets for picking him up, giving him a chance. Don't be a draft bust, waste Colorado's money. But the Sixers, what is going on? Do y'all want a repeat of this season of getting knocked out by the Celtics or not? Like, come on. Stop playing around in these draft picks. Like, yo, I ain't got nothing else to say about the Sixers right now. Like, they really got me befuddled. Like, I'm really baffled by the Sixers. Like, what are they doing out here? Trading up picks y'all needed. Like what Kylan said on his Facebook page, trading up what y'all needed with the capital N for what y'all don't need with the capital D. I ain't got nothing much to say about these Sixers. I really thought that y'all had your heads screwed up on straight this off season, but apparently not. Y'all need a general manager, like Toroy said. And with the moves y'all making this draft, y'all don't want to go to the finals. That's what y'all saying. Y'all saying y'all not ready. which is all, which by all means is all fine to the Celtics out there. But I got nothing else to say about these Sixers right now. They make me mad. It's a Philadelphia native. Y'all made me mad at what y'all doing out here tonight.
Listen, I'm happy they ain't make that decision to trade for Michael Porter Jr., Doctor Badback. I'm glad that they stopped their bad sensibilities because I was joking with Teroy and a bunch of us on our group chat on our group chat. I was joking like you know the two things the Sixers love: European players and players that are already injured, right? I was joking, but there's some truth to it because the Sixers have not been able to go and draft. In fact, this might be the first draft since they drafted Jalil Okafor where they didn't draft an injured player. Now, I know I'm probably speaking too soon because I'm watching it right now, and they're on the 24th pick, and the Sixers will pick again at 26. So I hope they don't make me eat my words again by picking somebody who's injured. But I think the most injury-prone player is off the board now, Michael Porter Jr. So my worst fear is over that they would get the 26th pick and Michael Porter Jr. would still be on the board. So I ain't got to worry about that one. But, I'm just the Sixers, man, they befuddled me. They pissed me off. Like Amina said, she called it my Facebook page. Like they had everything that they needed. They had in Mikal Bridges. Like I was gonna be so happy they got Mikal Bridges. They got what we need. Mikal Bridges is being compared to Kawhi Leonard. Like I said in my article this morning, if he's half the player Kawhi Leonard is, then I would have been happy. I would have been satisfied. He could have been the fifth piece of our big four. But nah, y'all just had to screw it up. And, before that, I was hearing y'all was trying to trade Markelle Fultz. And now we're getting reports that, Markelle Fultz, everything was all in his head. He can shoot. So Markelle Fultz can shoot, and he just got his own way mentally. I don't know what got in his head. Maybe hearing these things that the organization didn't believe in him. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, Markelle, you're our number one pick. You're our next to last pick, and it looks like you're the last sensible pick we made. I need you to get your head in the game, man. I need you to come out, be the star that we know you can be, because right now we got Zaire Smith, another project, and whoever the heck they select with number 26. Now, I hope Mr. Wayne Teroy's dad is right, and this is just part of a bigger package to trade for Kawhi Leonard, CJ McCollum, Kemba Walker, something that'll make me really happy. Somebody who can shoot. That's what they need to do. All the Sixers need to think everything that they need. They need somebody who can shoot, somebody who can come in, lock Ben Simmons in a room, teach that man how to shoot, and somebody who can shoot and create. That's what we need. S&C. Shoot and create. That's what we need. We need a shot creator. We need somebody who can pass and who can shoot. And Zaire Smith ain't the dude. Whoever you select at number 26 better be the dude. Because if Teroy's right, that means we're not keeping that number 10 pick. So we're not keeping that number 10 pick. Then you might as well should have just traded it. Because you just wasted Mikal Bridges' time. You wasted Zaire Smith's time. I don't know what the Sixers are doing. I'm hoping there's a grand plan because the other plan is Brett Brown and them are not ready to handle being the GM. I hope they're right and they're able to do something. But this Michael Porter stuff, I'm so happy they didn't trade for Michael Porter. Amina and Teroy would have had to call 911 because my head would have exploded if they would have drafted Michael Porter. Matter of fact, I was on the phone with Amina before they were drafting and while they were drafting. I was all, they better not pick Michael Porter. They better not pick Michael Porter. Matter of fact, we were all so happy about Mikal Bridges. I was getting calls. I was getting texts about how happy everybody was when we got Mikal Bridges. And then they just, Game of Thrones, Red Wedding it, and just kicked them right on out to Phoenix. I just can't. I just can't. All right, let's get off the Sixers. But we got number 4 coming up. All right, let's get off the Sixers and something that's even more maddening. Amina, your reaction to the crisis at the border. Go ahead.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. As everyone knows, it happened like a little over a week ago. Really, it started getting noticed in the media, but over the past few days, it's become one of the most hottest topics that's going on. Our dear president, Donald J. Trump Sr., and his federal government, his White House, whatever you want to call it, administration, they have decided to separate children from their families at the Texas Mexico border, coming from Mexico, coming into Texas. Um, this is America. Hashtag this is America with three K's, not a C. This is America. Welcome to America. Hashtag. This is what the Grand Old USA is. It's always been this way. They've always been ripping children of color from their parents. This goes back to the transatlantic slave trade that happened in the 1500s, early 1600s, with black children separated from their mothers and fathers from African villages and shipped on different boats and ships and whatever. It happened even before that in 1492 when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, where the native children were separated from their parents on reservations and different Indian communities across the country before it was established as a country. It happened more recently in in more recent century times. It happened with the Japanese American citizens or people of this country with those um, camps that they sent them to across the country, especially out there out west. It's been happening even in more recent times as a result of the crack cocaine epidemic. It's been happening to black children as well in the foster care system because of the crack cocaine epidemic. This is America. America loves tearing families apart, causing trauma, unnecessary grief, and it just goes to show that America is not making progress where it should be making progress. It's just ridiculous. See these children, to see the videos, it's like, yo, you got these big burly men just physically grabbing these children from their parents and throwing them in vans and trucks, driving them away, and their parents and families aren't even allowed to know where they're going. And then you got the ultimate sin of all sins. You have these ICE agents at the border snatching infants away from their mothers and they're breastfeeding. The worst thing you can do to a baby that's nursing from its mother is to snatch it. They eat every 2 3 hours on the dot. Okay, that's not good. They're just creating situations where there should not be situations. With all this money that they're spending on doing this tragedy, help the people do it the so-called right way, which is really no right way at all because these people are only returning to the land that was stolen from their ancestors through white people wars and pestilence and genocide. This is their land. This is their country. This, this country belongs to the black, Indians, and the brown people. And Donald Trump, you have no right. Your father's side of your family came from Germany. Your mother's side came from Scotland. You are considered to be an anchor baby, if you want to be frank. This country is a melting pot, and it's always been that way. There's no universal so called group of people that represent this country. People have been coming to the U.S. for centuries in order to make a better life for themselves. And that's what they want for themselves and their children. And it just goes to show that in 2018 that the USA is still not making progress. With the money you're spending on this mess, you all can set up housing, education, all the health care for these people. Like, come on. I heard it's like $1,000 or something a day per child. Like, come on. And if the federal government is willing to do this to people that want to come here, that are of people of color, just imagine what they're trying to do to black people that are already here, that have been here. Because we're not off the hook to the black community. They already have stuff written up, drafted on Capitol Hill, all for us. Don't think that we're exempt. We're not. This is only just a window of what may and might and will happen to us. This is just a tragedy. And this is the unfortunate way that Donald Trump has decided to spend his summer by separating families and snatching children from their mothers and fathers. This wow. This is how he wants to be remembered for his president legacy.
Roy?
It's just sickening, man. Me and it's actually a good friend of mine that voted for Trump, and we had an argument about this, and he tried to relate it to the Bible, and I'm like, nah, like it's not even close. Like, you're separating families when it's supposed to be the land of opportunity. It's supposed to be the country where you can make a name for yourself, but you're separating families for what? Like, if that's the case, then all of us, I'm saying, like, this ain't our land to begin with. It's Native American land, and you took it to begin with. So you can't sit there and try to separate families when you stole land to begin with. It makes no sense whatsoever why they're doing this. Like, I don't get it. It's sickening. Like, and they just think that, like, it goes on both sides, honestly. Like, they both need to come together to fix some type of resolution. The Democrats are saying it's Trump. Trump's saying it's Democrats. The bottom line is we separated families for no reason. That doesn't need to be separated. You separating these kids from these families, and not knowing, and these parents are not knowing if they're ever going to see their child again. But that's heartbreaking. That's disrespectful. For what? Because they're not legal? Who cares? They're here. Let them stay here. For what? There was a point in time where none of us was legal here, but we stayed. They took it. They took land that wasn't there and then killed them off. Like, it's uncalled for. It's ridiculous. Like, I really don't have a lot of words for it because it's sickening. Like, it shouldn't even happen. Like, this is what people voted for. This is what people voted for. This is what people who, like, yeah, get them out the country. Like, if that's the case, then you need to go too, because you should be an immigrant here too. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. Like, it's just, I can't believe there's people that actually in support of this. Like, I just don't understand what goes through people's brains as to when you just sitting here and taking children, young children at that, from their families. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, I don't understand how you could go to sleep at night and think that it's okay when it's not, and think that you're doing the good thing when you're clearly not doing the good thing. Like, I'm at a loss of words for it, honestly, Kyler. I'm at a loss of words for it.
Look, man, I echo Amina's sentiment and Roy's sentiment. I mean, I really have no words for the fact of ripping kids from their mothers. I can't really understand how we got here. Again, history repeats itself where we're interning kids and interning people that want to come here from things that, that are things are happening in their countries. Some of them of our doing and of other countries doing, messing with these countries, their politics, the geopolitical stuff. These people are running from cartels. They're running from drug dealers. They're running from smugglers. They're doing everything to get to a country where they'll be safe. And instead of just, letting them go through the asylum process, shortening the process to be able to get citizenship because it takes entirely too long. We have people saying that our screening process is weak. Now, in high school, I took the naturalization test, and I have to tell y'all, I passed it, but there's stuff on there that a lot of y'all barely got through our high school that you couldn't pass. And I hear people say all the time, and I think it's just so disrespectful to be all like, well, they can do it legally. Do you know how long it takes to legally get citizenship here? It could take as little as a year, as long as 5 to 10. Like, and we have one of the most strenuous screening processes in the world. You got to go through a UN database, an FBI database, a CIA database. And all y'all really have to do to understand the process, is look at the State Department's website. It's all detailed right there. I don't understand how we have so many idiots not understanding the different ways they be on TV. They get more followers than this podcast ever gets. And they be spouting off so much ignorance. Talking about, we got to keep the kids there because it'll be a deterrent. Well, here's something that you could that even a toddler understands. If you put the kids in essentially an internment camp, right, and you putting the kids in the internment camp, you separating them from their parents, and people are still coming here. That should tell you that what they're facing in their other country is way scarier than being taken away from their kids. This is America. This is the home of the free, land of the brave, all that stuff we like to say, right? This is the melting pot, right? Right now, why does this seem like a jail? Why does it seem like we're in this groupthink mentality? We're in this spot where we think that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta speak English, you gotta do all this stuff. To the point where we're ripping kids up and we think it's okay. We're using the Bible to justify that. No, this is wrong. This is immoral. There really aren't too many words in the English dictionary to describe this, right? This is immoral. It's wrong. It needs to stop. That EO won't do it. Congress needs to act. Democrat, Republican, whatever. Get it done. Give these people citizenship. Screen them. Take them to the process. Shorten the process. Give it to them. Let's just move on. Let's work on because we obviously can screen these people. Let's shorten the process. Let's give them asylum, and let's do something, man. Let's live up to the standard that we profess to stand up for. All right, moving right along. We kind of already reacted, but the Sixers about to pick again. All right, y'all. We'll just move right along. All right. So this is important, and we'll get back to it depending on who the Sixers draft. So do you guys think this was an important draft for the 76ers? Go ahead, Teroy.
I do feel like it was an important draft for the 76ers. I felt like they needed to get a player that could contribute if we were trying to win a title, because in sports, as you know, title windows come and go real quick. If you don't believe me, just ask the Seattle Seahawks. They had a chance to win 2 titles in a span of 2 years, and now all of a sudden they're looking at a total rebuild. They may not want to admit it, but they're pretty much looking at a total rebuild. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the Miami Heat. When LeBron James was there, they sat there, went to 4 straight NBA Finals, won 2, lost 2. LeBron went back home. That's the end of their run. What was this? Last year was the first. This past season was the first. It was the first time they made the playoffs since he left, I believe. Don't quote me, but I think that's the case. So you have to maximize you have to maximize your window as much as you can. And this draft was very important for the Sixers, just like last year's draft was. The last two drafts was very important for the Eagles, and look what happened. So now you took a player in Mikal Bridges, who a lot of people saying Zaire Smith may have more upside, but Mikal Bridges was ready to play right away. I'm not worried about upside. We got Fultz, we got Sard, and a lot of people forget if Sard ain't on the Sixers, he's a damn good player somewhere else. Probably he's a damn good player somewhere else. Only reason why he don't get talked about is because we got Simmons, we got Embiid, and we got Fultz. So we needed to maximize that talent. We need to maximize this draft, and we didn't do that at all.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Troy, but the Sixers just drafted Landry Shamet, who's actually a really good player uh, for Wichita State. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. We'll react to that in a minute after you're done.
All right. Yeah, just I don't know. I feel like they needed to maximize the draft, and I don't think they did that. Like, you know what I'm saying, they maximized it. We got lucky that Embiid fell to a few years ago. He fell to third to us because if you look back in retrospect, we got the best player in the draft because Andrew Wiggins has been a bust in my opinion, and Jabari Parker, even though he's good, he's hurt. So we got lucky. We messed up with Jahlil Okafor because we could have had Devin Booker. You know what I'm saying? So it comes and goes, but we needed to maximize the draft, and I don't think we did that at all. So this was an important draft for us to nail on, and I don't trading Mikal Bridges didn't help at all.
Amina, your reaction?
Yeah, this was an important draft year for the Sixers, in my opinion, because they were one up for several picks. Two, they had a lot of potential up until when they did what they did to Mikal Bridges. Three, they're no longer in rebuild mode. They're in let's get beyond the second round of the playoffs mode. So they needed people to continue building on that. And an extra bonus, this city just needs one good player on that team to add to what they already have to take them over the top. I mean, they already got the pieces of their puzzle. They just need one more. I don't know who it could be, but it just has to be just one more person to just seal it off. And I feel as though Mikal Bridges was that person, but I guess they didn't think so after giving him the hat and sending him off to Phoenix. Yeah, this was one of the most important Sixers drafts ever, and Sixers, like I said in the other question about the Sixers, I don't think y'all ready for the finals, and this just showed me that y'all not. Like, this was an important draft for y'all, and y'all just blew it. Clap, clap to the Sixers.
Let me just say this, right? It's a very important draft for the Sixers. It's there, unless I'm mistaken, and Troy Domina can correct me if I'm wrong. This is the Sixers' last draft of having a top 10 pick because let's be real, when you have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and we expect them both to make even bigger leaps now in their sophomore year playing together, not Ben Simmons's sophomore slash junior year.
Hey, I didn't want to cut you off, Colin, but if the Kings pick is number one next year, then we pick in the lottery. Otherwise, this will be like our last lottery pick.
Okay, so depending on how the Kings play, which The Kings have a core that's just as young, if not younger, than the Sixers. So, that could go either way. But depending on what happens with the Kings, and I hate saying that because that's a huge if, but depending on what happens with the Kings, we could be picking to the top 10 again. But next year's draft is even more unpredictable than this year's draft. And this is a very important draft for the Sixers. Like I said, this is their dynasty build mode. Now, I really liked who they picked in 26, and that's really because I'm one of the few people as a college basketball aficionado in here, and I really like Landry Shamet. Okay, his last name's really funny to pronounce, but he's a good player, good point guard, has really good ball skills. He used to work on his jump shot, but has a jump shot, which is more than I can say for some people on the Sixers roster. Ben Simmons, so he has a really good jump shot. Uh, well, not really good. An okay jump shot. He's got more of a jump shot than Zaire Smith. It's a really good. It's a really good. He's a point guard. He can be. He can add instant offense. He plays younger beyond his years. So I really like that pick. But as you all know, who have heard this from earlier, I'm really pissed about the Zaire Smith pick. I really do hope that Zaire Smith is used to get a free agent. I don't care if that's Kimball Walker. I don't care if that's Kawhi Leonard, C.J. McCollum. We need somebody who can shoot. But yeah, it doesn't seem like the Sixers were adequately prepared for this draft to me. With what they did, like they had a good pick, Mikal Bridges. I don't know what the Phoenix Suns sold them on for trading them, but they shouldn't have did it. And it is what it is. I hope Zaire Smith can be really good and he'll impress me in October. But if not, like I said, I'm going to be riding the Sixers about this pick for a long time until Zaire Smith proves himself. No, but Landry Shamet, I'm okay with. But yeah, this is a really important draft for the Sixers. Like I said, it's basically their last chance. And I know we all expect the Kings to suck because it's the Kings, but eventually they're not going to suck. So for all intents and purposes, was the Sixers' last guaranteed top 10 pick. And I feel like they blew it. But that's just me. Moving right along. Our reaction, y'all, to Adam Silver saying that he might change the rule to stop super teams. Now, for those of you that don't know, Adam Silver, he was making the rounds the other day, because his draft season is the NBA off season, so he really has nothing to do. He was saying how he gave props to Amina's Warriors for basically taking advantage of the system and taking advantage of the one off year, the cap system where they had more cap space and they were able to sign Kevin Durant. But he was saying how he was thinking about what was he thinking about? He was thinking about changing the rules to make creating a super team even less likely and to keep parity in the league. This idea. Amina, go ahead and tell her opinion. Go ahead, Amina. What's your reaction to Adam Silver's comment? Amelia, you there? Okay. Troy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I don't know what happened to Amelia. Go ahead. You have a reaction to that?
But yeah, I don't know why he's trying to do it, honestly. For what? I mean, there's never really no real parity in the league to begin with. Like the Warriors did, what the Warriors did. They maximized the cap space and made the move to make. So why are you going to penalize that? That's not their fault that they was able to sign Kevin Durant. It's not their fault. Like matter of fact, I'll throw a statistic at you. Like now that I'm in Florida, I listen to a lot of ESPN radio, and it was one of them uh, that it was one stat that really struck a nerve with me, and he was saying that over the last, I want to say, 25 years, with the exception of the Utah Jazz and the Seattle Supersonics. It was most of the teams over the last 20, 25 years that have come out, that have made it to the West, made it to the NBA Final, have either been teams from California or teams from Texas. Like, you have your exceptions when the Phoenix Suns made it, when the Sonics made it, when I'm sorry, they said the last like the West teams to win the NBA Finals have either come from San Antonio, or has either come from the state of Texas or the state of California. So there really is no real parity if you really want to look at it, especially out west. Now you have teams that went, like Seattle, like Phoenix, like Utah, but they haven't won it. So the teams that win it in the West either coming from California or Texas. With the, and that's ridiculous. Like, there really is, the league is fine the way it is, because eventually everything's going to even itself out. I mean, like, you didn't even have no real parity back in the old days. The Celtics were running stuff, and then it was the Bird, and then it was Magic, and then it was Jordan. Now it's LeBron. Now it's the Warriors. Like, you don't. There's always going to be dynasties. There's always super teams. It's just that it's more prevalent now, like I said on the last podcast, because simple fact, there's not enough talent in the league. Back in the '90s, it was enough talent. Teams were stacked. The only reason why they didn't win is because of Jordan. So you can't sit there and try to fix something that's not broken, in my opinion. Like, I mean, granted, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's trying to, but it's going to be who steps up next. When the Warriors, when you want to stop to create super teams, but in all actuality, you need smarter GMs, because I believe these GMs aren't that smart if they're not building it the right way. Because even before the Warriors signed Kevin Durant, you still had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. You know what I'm saying? If they don't blow the 3-1 lead, then you don't need a Kevin Durant. That's the only reason why they got Kevin Durant. It's because Adam Silver helped out the Cavs and suspended Draymond Green. Otherwise, we're not even talking about this discussion right here. And the Warriors still probably won 3 titles in 4 years. So I don't think he needs to fix what's not broken, in my opinion. I just think he's trying to do too much, and it's going to hurt in the league in the long run.
Let me just say this. I completely agree with Roy. Like, there is no such thing as parity in the NBA. I think there's more parity in college basketball, and everybody knows who listens to this podcast. I don't really think that there's much parity in college basketball either. But I have to just be so shocked that a league that's so progressive would be so reactionary to different things, as if they've never had super teams before. Now, as Roy pointed out, there were Birds Celtics, Magic's Lakers, super teams, Chicago Bulls, super team, 2006, 2007 Celtics, super team. I just really don't understand why we overreact to these super teams in the NBA, as if there's never been super teams before. You know, there's no such thing as parity in the NBA. I mean, I'm gonna hit y'all with another stat. Uh, there has, I think, the last final that we had that did not include Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, or Tim Duncan was in 2010, 2011, I believe. There was only one final in the last couple of years that did not include Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. That should tell you all you need to know. Right? There's no such thing as parity. It's always the top teams making it to the finals. You'll never get a team like a Butler University type team, like a wild card team that just shocks you and makes it to the finals. I mean, that the last time that happened was the Dallas Mavericks, and it doesn't happen often. So there's no such thing as parity in the NBA, and I just am so shocked. It's very reactionary. Amina's phone died, but she should be back. But it's so reactionary to me. Like there's always going to be super teams, there always will be super teams. I don't understand why we're so reactionary to this stuff. Moving right along. Matt goes around the diamond, but obviously Matt's not here, so I'm doing it again. The Phillies have won back-to-back series for the first time since 2010. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the Nationals. I believe they just beat the Braves as well. So they've won back-to-back-to-back series. In baseball, another Philly area update. Mike Trout is hitting 669, has a 675 on base percentage. Is really doing a lot, but nobody really knows who he is, and that should be an indictment of Major League Baseball, and it's an indictment that he's one of the best players, the faces of your league, but not a lot of people know who he is. That's very much an indictment of your league, or your PR department. Excuse me. Yeah, that's the baseball update, and Matt will come back and give y'all more in-depth baseball, but I try. Moving right along. All right, Teroy, your reaction to the Patriots trying to trade Gronk. Go ahead.
It's funny. Patriots trying to trade Gronk. I don't think it's smart. I mean, I understand he always hurt, so I don't think he has a lot of years left in him, especially good football. But at the same time, you can't trade one of your best players. Like, you may say, yeah, he's hurt, so he's never really around, and we can win without him. But you're winning few games here and there without him. You're not going a whole season without Gronk. That's a big difference because people, like, if you take Gronk off that field, Tom Brady's getting hit. And they already don't have a great offensive line to begin with. I mean, he's getting annihilated time and time again. I mean, I would like for them to trade Gronk. That means I don't got to worry about him. But at the same time, trading Gronk. That's stupid. I wouldn't even do that. And I don't even like the Patriots. Like, I don't understand their logic as to why they would want to trade Gronk. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. I mean, like I said, I don't think he has a lot of good football left. And obviously, Bill Belichick does a good job of, knowing when to let players go. But he's your best offensive weapon outside of Tom Brady. Like, who do you have at wide receiver? Nobody. You got absolutely nobody at wide receiver. So to trade him, trade him for, like, who are you trading him for? You like 2 tight ends in their system. Get rid of him. Basically, give him and we don't think because otherwise we trade your best off weapon is a match or you're trying. I don't.
As Roy said, I mean, I'm not shocked because I know he was talking about retiring. How wasn't fun to play football, wasn't really fun to play Patriots. To play with the Patriots, as I keep saying, with each passing week, Lane Johnson seems more and more right, man, about playing for the Patriots, the Patriot way. It doesn't seem like the Patriot way is very fun. I mean, anytime the Patriot way has Tom Brady not wanting to show up for minicamp, has Rob Gronkowski calculating his future, I mean, it's a little bit too much. Excuse me. It's a little bit too much, man. It's like it's shocking, and the Patriots live by the motto of everyone is expendable. I don't know why Rob Gronkowski ever thought he wasn't expendable. And like I said, Gronk shouldn't be shocked because I mean you saw what they did to Jimmy Garoppolo, you saw what they did to Corey Dillon, you saw what they did to a lot of players, Danny Amendola. I mean, the Patriots are not loyal at all, and Rob Gronkowski should feel like, unappreciated for real, because whenever the Patriots get rid of you, that means that they feel that you are at your ceiling, at your peak, and they're trying to get the max amount of dollars for you and max amount of value out of you. So that means, Gronk, that you have been injured one too many times. You're not valuable anymore. Basically, they believe the only thing not expendable is Tom Brady. And, Rob Gronkowski, you're just not in the click, and Gronk, I would be happy because that will open up an opportunity for anybody else to have Gronk. I mean, I would love for him to be on my Eagles. Obviously, we have Zach Ertz, but hey, the rich get richer, right? Rob Gronkowski, I think that they were looking at trading him to the Lions. And if the Lions would have gone, that would instantly have put them up there with the Eagles as one of the best teams in the NFC. But because all they're really missing is a reliable wide receiver. But like Troy said, if you get rid of Gronk, like Tom Brady might as well stay retired because he has nobody to throw it to. It's just a bunch of bums in him, and they lost a lot this offseason. Nate Solder, Dion Lewis, they lost a lot this offseason. I don't know if the Patriots will really be competitive this year. I mean, they are like, it seems like their dynasty is dead. Like, it's on the ropes. To go back to what we said last week, I believe the dynasty is dead. I believe it's over for the dynasty, and the Patriots are just showing it. It seems like they're dead, man. They're just trying to stay above water, trying to last long enough to last long enough to survive, and hope Tom Brady keeps playing. But I don't know if he will. He's doing interviews with Oprah, and I just don't know. So going right along, if they traded Gronk, should Brady just retire? Yes, Tom Brady, retire, because that's the person, much like Plexico Burrs did with Eli Manning. That's the person that keeps Tom Brady looking like Tom Brady. A lot of people are like, well, why hasn't Tom Brady regressed? It's because he has Rob Gronkowski to make him look younger, much like Eli Manning, much like Plexico Burrs did for Eli Manning. And, I just feel like without Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady will look as old as he is. He'll be getting sacked a lot. He'll have to become a mobile quarterback because, he's not mobile at all. And because he won't have anybody to throw to without reliable targets. Like I said, I believe that if they got rid of Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady retired, the Patriots would go from a perennial Super Bowl contender to a lottery team in the draft. They would be bums. They would go back to being the bummy New England Patriots. And yeah, I believe if Rob Gronkowski got traded, if he ever got traded during the season, when the season starts, that Tom Brady just needs to retire then, because he's going to be spending a lot of time on the ground. He might as well get used to spending a lot of time on the ground. Go ahead, Troy.
No, I completely agree with you. If if Gronk was to retire, yeah, Tom Brady needs to retire. If Tom Brady needs to retire. There's no other way around it as to why he would still be playing. Like, doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, as you're right, that's really the reason why he hasn't progressed. It's because of Gronk. I mean, if you really look at it, you could have made the point he was regressing in the Falcons game. The Falcons just gave him the game. Otherwise, you might see Tom Brady in a completely different light than what you see him now. So if Gronk was to retire, yeah, it's a wrap. Because they don't got to run the game as it is. They never really had a running game like that to somewhere where they could really rely on the run. And then you gave away your best wide receiver in Brandon Cooks. And then now you talking about almost trading Gronk. Like, I get it to where, he's hurt one too many times and still really what you get at, like, if Gronk doesn't spaz in the second half, or the Patriots weren't even close. Was able to keep Tom Brady in that game 7 years stretch. So yeah, if Gronk was to retire, if Gronk was to get traded, Tom Brady's going to retire. And then that team just going to be, it's going to be all downhill. The Patriots will be where we know it.
Okay. I agree. We're moving right along. Carson Wentz is finding his voice off the field. Could he be the athlete that we need during this turbulent time in our country's history? All right, so for those of you that don't know, Carson Wentz, y'all know him as our young stud. Carson Wentz, the good Christian that he is, has had a softball game and raised a heck of a lot of money for a football field, not a football field, a sports arena in Haiti. Uh, he's doing a food truck to feed the homeless here in the Philadelphia area. He's doing a lot of stuff, man. And so that is the question. So to Roy, is Carson Wentz the athlete that we need in these turbulent times? Go ahead.
Oh,
Roy, you there?
hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I think so. He's somebody I think he's a Christian. Um, they won't. He in his trying time. Somebody that knows what's right, knows what's wrong, knows what he needs to stand in for, and stand. He knows what needs to stand in and believe for. And I believe that's something that can really help us as a community, as the NFL down the line, as his career moves forward, and as we keep having these trying issues, because he has a firm belief in God and knows exactly what he needs to do.
Mina, Carson Wentz is finding his voice. You know all he's been doing because you live in the city. So, do you think he's the athlete that we need in these turbulent political times?
Yeah, yes, I do believe that he is what society needs in this hectic social and political climate that we live in, for the lack of better terminology. He's not only dynamic on a football field from what I've seen since he became an Eagle, but he's also branching out into different avenues as far as community service. He speaks out on things that happen in the media. He's vocal about things that go on in the tri-state area. He's not a silent quarterback. He gets what needs to be done. And for him to be so young still, it just goes to show what his career is going to be based off of and what he's going to be remembered for, 15, 25, 35 years from now when he's retired and we're all looking back on. I'm happy for him. This Philly has not had a vocal star player on any team that I can recall in a long time of his caliber. He's what Philadelphia needs to progress in the sports world. And the sports complex in South Philly needs that. They need someone like him. He's shown that he has a giving heart. I mean, he does things for the community here in Philadelphia as far as the less fortunate. I see him dipping and dabbing into things for children, so that's good. You want your star player to have a good rapport with the young people, with the youth. So that's good. And the situation involving Colin Kaepernick's movement, he's very vocal with that as well. I see him showing positive remarks about it as it continues to progress, and I see him supporting it, and that's good. And he's also starting his own businesses. I mean, from an article that Kylan had did, I think, and I had did some research on it a little bit. He has a food cart as well, so he's humble as well because he could open a big time store downtown or somewhere on Rittenhouse Square. But no, he decided to take his money and build a food cart, which is simple and modest. And that's what I think he wants to be known for. I don't think he wants to be known as a big flashy person. And to be modest is what he is. I mean, he has a strong faith background. That's more helping his career outside of football. He's a very spiritual man, and with him putting himself out there vocally, you can't complain about it. Like I don't see why anybody has anything hateful to say about it if they do. But this man is what society needs. And I hope and pray that other quarterbacks and other players on other teams they jump on board because we don't need any more eras to go by or decades to go by in professional sports where people just sit by in silence when stuff is going on and then no one says anything. We need people to be vocal. It's not all about making baskets and basketball hoops or making touchdowns on the field. It's not all about that. It's more than that. It's more than your career in general. And that's what Carson Wentz is showing that you can be versatile in your career. You don't have to just be a stiff necked robot that just has a football or basketball in their hand. You can have a personality. You can have a God fearing lifestyle. You can have your social and political activism. You can have a mixed bag, and that's what he's showing. So I congratulate him. He's really doing it out here, and he's young, he's perky, he has a lot of energy, and I just looking forward to seeing what else he does because I know he's going to be doing a lot of things that's going to get people talking. And I wish him nothing but the best, Carson Wentz.
Let me just say this. Like Amina said, the article on this called Carson Wentz is finding his voice. Y'all should definitely check that out. WatsonSportsTake.com and also what is it? WatsonSportsTake.com and PhillyChristianVoice.com. Definitely check that out. Yeah, he is the athlete we need because go along with what Troy and Amina says, he's a God-fearing man. But it's not just that he is a person who has made an impact on this city and only his third going into his junior year of football. This man has changed an entire culture in the city. He has helped spread the gospel in the Eagles locker room. The Eagles are a lot more Christian than I've ever seen them be in my life. And they've had a lot of famous Christians on the team, but God has just been moving with the team, and not just because we won the Super Bowl, but they've been doing a lot of different things in the community, and I'm so proud of them. And a lot of that I credit to Carson, to God moving through Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz has been outspoken. He's been out there about different things. Now, as Amina said, he hasn't like outwardly voiced support, but you can see in his actions and how he's moving and doing different things for social justice and everything. And he's been very highly involved in the Philadelphia scene and everything. So I'll give him that. He's definitely an athlete we need, an outspoken athlete, an athlete that's about his community, that's about doing God's work. And we can always use those types of athletes, that are important, that can be symbols, and he knows that he's not working for himself, he's working for something bigger, for the kingdom. And it's just great to see, a man just come in and change the culture of a whole entire city. So like I said in the article, if that man can change a whole entire city's culture, he can definitely change the world. And I just really hope he's a great player on and off the field. It usually takes players longer to find their voice, not at 24, 25 years old. And just to see what that man can do, he's a couple of years younger than me, but just the impact he's having is just it's nothing but God, man. It's just God moving through him. And yeah, that's what we need. We need positive role models, positive figures, things that can bring us together, and somebody to show that yeah, all this stuff divides us, but here's what we can do to really help and really affect the world. I'm so proud of him. Moving right along. All right, y'all. Here's one that we could. Who will be the best player in the 2018 NBA draft class? I know the draft's not over, but who do you think will be the best player in this year's NBA draft class? Go ahead, Toroy.
Um, huh. I'm a big fan. I'm actually a huge fan of Marvin Bagley. I think he's going to be a very good player. DeAndre Ayton, I question whether he could play defense or not. Um, that's my Luka Doncic. I don't trust him. I don't trust European players like that. I can see why Dallas would want him because Dallas probably thinks he's like the next Dirk Nowitzki, and I get it. But um, but yeah, I wouldn't want him on my team just because I don't. My dad, I know my dad was saying that. Oh, well, yeah, the Sixers could probably get him, but no, I don't. I don't want him on there. I just obviously I think it's really going to be Marvin Bagley. I think Marvin Bagley is going to do something good for the Kings if they can, because the Kings kind of have a career where careers go to die. So if they could turn that around, I can see Marvin Bagley having a good having a very good career. DeAndre A is going to be blessed because he gets to play with Devin Booker. That's going to help him try to cover up some of his flaws. I don't think DeAndre Ayton's all that good to begin with. I mean, you're like one of the best players in the league, and you lost in what the first, second round in the NCAA tournament. I know it doesn't say a whole lot. Doesn't mean a whole lot because Ben Simmons and Markel Fultz didn't make it. But he's supposed to be dominating big men, dominating the game. Him and Mo Bamba. Uh, I think Bagley has the potential to be the best player, but I wouldn't even rule out Mo Bamba. It just I don't think him going to the Magic is a good fit because they already have a bunch of centers to begin with Vukovic and this like Biombo and now Mo Bamba. But it's to me it's either between Bagley or Mo Bamba, in my personal opinion.
Amina.
Yeah, I gotta agree with what Rory was saying about Marvin Bagley. I watched some videos over the past few days of potential draft picks for tonight, and I was gravitated towards his. He's great at what he does. He knows what he's doing, and he's going out there to Sacramento. I think if he continues to do what he did in his college career and builds on that in the NBA, that it's going to be wonderful. He is joining the Sacramento Kings, so he has a dynamic veteran player in Vince Carter over there to help train him and help him do what he needs to do. And he could also lean on other veteran players from other teams and whatnot to assist him and retired players. I'm sure they will be willing to give him pointers and help him out and just take him under their wing and mentorship. I also got to give a shout out to the pick that my team just picked up, 28th pick. Welcome to the Dub Nation, Jacob Evans. He just turned 21 3 days ago. So we got a fresh, young shooting guard. And he's from Cincinnati, went to college out there. And his shooting ability is like insane. Like he rarely misses. And we need that on our team. Like we need people to succeed joining us that know what they're doing on the court. So got to give it to Marvin Bagley and Jacob Evans. Jacob Evans on my team, Golden State. For both y'all being great at what y'all do. And also now he's on the Suns. Was supposed to be the Sixers, but Mikal Bridges, I gotta hand it to him, even though I'm hurt for what they did to you. I think he's a great pick this year. I expect high things to come from him. I don't know how far the Suns will go this coming season, but I believe that he should be able to get them further than they've been these past few seasons. Because, you know, people had high expectations for him going into this draft. So make do with those high expectations and just get the job done. Win one game and move on to the next game. Win it, move on to the next. That's the goal. That's a lot of great talent this draft, and they're going to some decent quality teams that really fit their personalities. So, congratulations.
Great minds think alike because I was gonna say it's a tie for me as well. But it's a I gotta say Mikael Bridges just because I think in the NBA we've fallen not we but executives have fallen. I think the Sixers were a victim of this. They fall for the younger player with the higher ceiling than the established player that grew in his 3 to 4 years of school and is the better overall player will prove that he's the better overall player. I gotta go with Mikael Bridges because he's shown me a lot. Like I said, I really watch a lot of college basketball, so I know most of these players, and I can give a lot of good analysis on these players. I'm very, I was very excited when I heard Mikael Bridges' name because he reminds me a lot of Kawhi Leonard. I am not saying now disclaimer. I am not saying he will be as good as Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi Leonard still has a lot of growing to do too. He's only 26, but I feel like he is a more complete player at Kyler W. Watson. If you want to debate this, he's a more complete player right now than Kawhi Leonard was when he first entered the league. Like I know, Teroy knows, Amita knows what he was doing. We knew that he was coming in. He was going to be a good defensive player. He was going to be a ball stopper. He's a great off-ball defender. Needs to work on all-ball defense. He can get a shot. He can create his own shot. He's got a motor. He can shoot. He's a much better shooter than Kawhi Leonard was at the time when he entered the league. And he had a lot of growing to do. And playing with a Ben Simmons off of Joel Embiid, he would have a good shot. He's a great three-point shooter, a great spot-up shooter. He really does compare very favorably to Kawhi Leonard. And in some spots, he's a little bit better right now than Kawhi Leonard was when he first entered the league. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a project too, but he's a lot more polished, one of the most complete players in this draft. And the fact that a lot of people don't consider him one of the best players, I feel is an insult because he's a great player. He's going to be a great player. I wish he was here instead of in Phoenix, but he had like I think it was the fourth best chance. He was at like 96% to be an all-star. So in every stat that they did, he was top five in defense, top five in shooting, top five in rebounding. That should tell you something. If he's a top five player in this draft, that means he's going to be a really good player. And I am so pissed that the Sixers traded him. But water under a bridge. It's a new round now in the NBA draft. We're trying to turn the page, but I think it's him, and I think it's going to be. I have to give it to Roy. I really and Amina. I really also think it's going to be Marvin Bagley. I think that he's a special player who's going to grow, learning from Zach Randolph and learning how to be a more polished power forward and convert his game to the current NBA. But I believe that he will definitely pick up and he's going to the right team and the Sacramento Kings with all the vets that's on that team. Vince Carter, Iman Shumpert, Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox will love playing for him. And don't get me wrong, that's the next big man, the little man combination right there. And a lot of y'all need to watch out for that going into the 2018-2019 season. The De'Aaron, the Fox, the Bagley, the third connection, that I feel is going to be a deadly connection. I don't think they've had a connection like that since C. Webb and Jason Williams. Now, I am not saying that these are going to be the 2000 to 2001 Kings, but I think that they'll have a connection that will mirror the Jason Williams, Chris Webber. I know a lot of y'all are new school NBA fans. So you probably don't know who White Jason Williams and Chris Webber was, but let me tell you, that connection used to be deadly. So Roy can tell you that. I can tell you that. Amina can tell you that. But moving right along, guys. All right, guys. And I know the second round is still going on, but your winners and losers in the first round. Oh, look at that! In the first round of the draft. I'll start, man. You know, I gotta say that a loser, even though it really hurts me saying this, are my 76ers. And even though I know they got Zaire Smith and he has a higher ceiling, some people would say, than Mikal Bridges, I believe that the Sixers are drafting for the fifth piece, the next to last piece of the dynasty that we're trying to build. The Sixers need to start thinking in 5 to 10 year terms, man. We need players that are going to be here. We got Embiid for another 5 years. We'll have Ben Simmons for another 5 to 10 too. They need to start thinking about the dynasty. And like Troy said earlier in this podcast, the ceiling is very small in the NBA. It's a lot shorter than the NFL. You are losing one player, one injury away from losing all your planning and everything that you plan to do. And the Sixers are a loser, man, because Zaire Smith, okay, they rebounded a little bit by selecting Landry Shamet. He's a shooter. He's a playmaker. He can do all that. But Zaire Smith, man, I just can't. I don't know if Brett Brown was smoking some weed or something when he was making these picks. I don't know what the Suns did, what they guaranteed him to pry Mikal Bridges from him. But whatever they did, he needs to stop smoking it. He needs to realize that we have suffered a long time, 5 years, and we want to see more than second round basketball in Philadelphia. Like the draft, the Eagles showed you that it's a combination of drafting and free agency that gets you to the Super Bowl, that gets you to a championship, right? So I really hope that they have a really good free agency to justify this because Zaire Smith is a project and it's going to take a really long time. So for me, the Sixers were a loser and I guess a big winner because they didn't mess it up. And this is a surprise for me because they drafted who they needed and they got who they needed. I have to say the New York Knicks because they drafted Kevin Knox, which is a player that they needed. He's a very polished player. He can shoot. Now he doesn't play defense, but the Knicks didn't really draft him to play defense. They drafted him to be a scorer, to be their number one scorer, while Kristaps Porzingis is on the mend from his knee injury. So I mean, I have to say the New York Knicks. They're a big winner in the first round. Go ahead, Troy.
Um, the loser is definitely the Sixers. No question about it. That's definitely a loser. There ain't no other way around it. To draft Mikal Bridges and then trade him for Zaire Smith? Nah. I don't care. Like I said, the only way this makes it all works out is if we end up with Kawhi Leonard. Other than that, I don't see how this works out. It doesn't make no sense to me whatsoever on how this could work out. So the Sixers are definitely a loser. That hurts me to say that. A winner, I'm gonna throw a shocker in there. I'm gonna go with Cleveland. Just watching Cleveland and knowing what they needed, they really needed a point guard, and I think they would have took Trey Young or Trey Young fell to him, but because they didn't, them drafting Colin Sexton was a good pick in my eyes. I felt like they needed to get somebody like him. They needed somebody that can. It's going to be interesting to see if he can make his team better, his teammates better. But they definitely needed a point guard because George Hill wasn't the answer, and now they got a piece for the future. And I think that's a good start for them because we know LeBron's not coming back, and they said they're willing to keep Kevin Love. So getting Colin Sexton, I think, was a very good pick for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that's why I choose them as my winners.
Amina?
I gotta agree with both with what you all said. Sixers, y'all had a good thing going. I'm giving y'all the loser hat today. Y'all had a good thing going up until y'all disrespected Mikal Bridges' life. Like I'm still on that. I'm still mentally on that. Like how, why did y'all do that? But hey, Sixers do Sixers things. So for the winner, I gotta give it to it's split. I'm not being biased. I'm not even going into my team. I'm going to other people's teams. I gotta give it to the Knicks. It was just mentioned. I believe that Knox is gonna make do for this team, and it's gonna be what Madison Square Garden needs as far as shooting ability, and his ball handling is like crazy too. I watched a few of his videos, and it's what they need because the Knicks are the Knicks, and they just need to rebuild. I mean, come on, aren't y'all tired of being at the bottom of the hole for decade after decade? Time for the Knicks to rebuild, and it's time for them to get out the funk they're in. So I'm ready to see this coming season what Knox does, and congrats to him. And in the roundup, I got to give it to the Kings for drafting Bagley to their team because he's around a bunch around no nonsense players that have been in the NBA for a while, and they're gonna mentor him into what he needs to be, mold him into how he should be, and just have fun, but go out there and be about your business because it's the NBA now. This is not your college days no more. So I got to give it to the Knicks and the Kings for being the winners.
Wait, wait! I have to change. I have to change my pick. The Sixers just got the steal of the draft. They picked and I'm not talking about this guy from Germany that they just drafted, but they got Kyrie Thomas, who for those of you that are pay attention to Big East basketball, he's a guy from Creighton, and oh my goodness, that man can play some defense and he can shoot. I might have to change my thing because the Sixers found some way to get the 38th pick and the 39th pick, and they picked a guy who can shoot and play defense in Kyrie Thomas. I definitely would advise y'all to look at his tape. He can play the perimeter. He's a good shot creator. They just redeemed themselves by getting this man. I advise y'all to look at the tape, look him up. Kyrie Thomas is a great player. Good pickup for the Sixers. And then they got a German player named.
Quick question. I mean, quick comment. The 39th pick is going to the Lakers from yesterday's trade.
Isn't the 39th pick going to the Lakers from the tweet that they sent out last night attached with the Bulls names to it?
Yes. The 39th pick is going to the Lakers. But the Sixers, they got. You're right. The 39th pick is going to the Lakers, so that's no avoid. But the Sixers got a good pick in the second round. Like I told y'all, look up Kyrie Thomas. You're gonna be really happy. Now he doesn't make up for the fact of, like I said, Mikal Bridges. That would have been a great pickup, but Kyrie Thomas, really good player. Look at his tape. But all right, y'all. So this is where we put our tinfoil, not really our tinfoil hats on, but what player will start October on the new team not named Mikal Bridges? That still hurts. It'll probably hurt for the next 2 weeks. I know Matt's probably raring to go. I'm raring to go. Teroy's raring to go. We're all ready to go on that one. But a player who you think will definitely be on the new team next year. Go ahead, Teroy.
We talking about like free agent or draft picks, or what are we talking about?
Free agent. We're talking free agent.
Okay. Am I naming all the players or just one player? That's
Go
okay.
with two.
Okay. Um, two players. That's a lot. The two who I think the most will be on a different team: LeBron James, Paul George. Um, I can see Paul George maybe staying in Oklahoma City, but from the reports I read, is that his family and his friends want him in LA. I think it's either between OKC, LA, or Philly, but I don't think he stays in OKC. Um, and I don't think LeBron stays in Cleveland. There's no way in the world I see LeBron staying in Cleveland. I don't see that happening. So I can see LeBron in LA, and I can see Paul George either in LA or in Philly. Because it really the only way for the Lakers to get Kawhi, like you pointed out last on the podcast last week, is he has to get traded before they sign a free agent. Because once they sign a free agent, they no longer have room for Kawhi. And I don't think he's going to get traded before they sign a free agent. Because if LeBron James comes knocking on your door and saying, I want to come, and he brings Paul George with him, you're not going to be able to get Kawhi. Unless they wait and they talk to Kawhi and somehow Kawhi is able to maneuver his way to the Lakers. But other than that, the two that I know for sure is going to be a different team next year, Paul George, LeBron James.
Amina?
I gotta say the number one obvious one is LeBron James. This is it. Cleveland. He's not coming back. This is not 2010 when he came back in 2014. He's leaving and he's not coming back. His free agency starts not this Sunday, but the next Sunday on the 1st. This is his last week ever, starting this Sunday, the 24th, in Cleveland. And it's the end of an era in Cleveland. He's most likely coming to Philadelphia, and we got extra clues for it this week. He was back in the city again, looking at the schools for his children, and yeah, I don't know how Cavs fans going to react this time around, because this time around it was expected for him to go because he was a free agent anyway. But I hope y'all don't be burning his jerseys this time around. But he's been done with that team since game one of the finals this year. Like, he was not mentally invested in it for games 2, 3, or 4. He's done. I don't. LeBron James. I see him being a Philadelphia Sixer at the most come October. But the Cavs, they just picked up a new player in Colin Sexton for the draft, so he'd be all right. But Cook and Loans, y'all gonna be out y'all king come October. The end of an era in the NBA. LeBron James, no more Cavs.
Yeah, I've just decided I'm going to stop being excited about the picks for the Sixers, because every time I get excited about a pick, they wound up trading that guy. And as I was speaking, they traded that guy that I was just talking about, Tyrese Thomas. So the next two picks, I'm not getting excited about. See if they'll keep them. But two players that I expect to be on a different team. One's going to really surprise everybody. I expect Kawhi Leonard to be on the new team. Mm-hmm. The team that I expect him to be on will be the Philadelphia 76ers. I definitely agree with Troy and a lot of other people that the Sixers are making moves to put them in the Kawhi Leonard market, and that's why they're trading all these pieces. But I would rather they keep some of these pieces. But hey, what do I know? They're not paying me millions of dollars to be the GM of the Sixers, so whatever. But I expect Kawhi Leonard to be on a different team, and that's just because I feel this is irreparable. What's going on between the San Antonio Spurs and him? Like, you misdiagnosed the injury, then you killed the man in the media. I don't have to rehash this. I talked about this last week. I just think it's over. San Antonio done played themselves, a la DJ Khaled, played themselves out of the Kawhi Leonard sweepstakes and now have to trade him. So I believe that he will, wind up being a 76er. And another person that I believe will wind up in the team, this is going to surprise a lot of you. I hope y'all sitting down for this. CJ McCollum. I've been hearing a lot that they are trying to trade him because they can't afford to keep him and Damian Lillard. If I remember correctly, I believe CJ McCollum will be a free agent next year. So Portland may be trying to get as much value for him as they can before he leaves. So for a lot of you, don't be surprised that this summer CJ McCollum is on the move. If he is, you heard it here first. Also, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Bradley Beal as well, I believe will find himself on a new team, if not in October, before the season ends next year. I believe that much like in Portland, Washington's going to find themselves having to pick between Damian Lillard. Just like Portland, they'll have to pick between Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. Washington will have to do the same thing. Bradley Beal or John Wall. Can't pay them both. And it's going to be a feeding frenzy. So, yeah, those are my players. That wraps up this podcast for this week. Like I said, I want to thank Teroy Kamina for rocking out with me. We definitely have fun all the time. Definitely talking about our rage between the Sixers trading who they traded and everything, and it's just a shame. But, it is what it is. But like I said, I want to thank Teroy and Amina. I want to thank you guys for watching. Whether you watch now, you watch later. We hit 140-something views. I think we were close to 150 the last time I checked on the previous episode 88. We want to thank you guys for your support. You can always follow us at Colin W. Watson on Twitter. Teroy Jackson on Facebook, Amina Muhammad on Facebook. We're always up for the debates. Definitely hit us up. Let us know what you think about this free for all that the Sixers were on. Do you think that they're got a bigger plan, that we should trust the process and not just be upset with what's going on? Do you think that there's a Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James move coming? Let us know. Definitely hit us up. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the semi-nice weather that we are having on the East and on the West Coast. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the first weekend of summer. Deuces.